My sister was my whole world. Then she stole my song and made it hers. I watched her perform my words, take my pain, and call it her own. So I became invisible. I plotted, I waited. I found someone else she overlooked, and together we created something she could never take. The song went viral. Her world crumbled. She had no idea it was me. Then one night, my phone rang. Her voice was broken. "Luna, I need you." I walked onto that stage, looked her in the eyes, and sang the truth. What happened next, I never saw coming. My name is Luna, and I have a sister. Her name is Stella. For 18 years, she was my sun, and I was a small, faithful planet spinning in her orbit. She was 2 years older, beautiful in a way that made strangers stop and stare, and she had a laugh that could fill an empty house and make it feel like a home. Everyone loved Stella, and I, Luna, loved her the most. We did everything together. She taught me how to braid my hair, how to sneak extra cookies from the jar without mom hearing, and how to apply mascara without poking your eye out. When I was scared of the dark, she'd let me crawl into her bed and tell me stories about brave knights and magical lands until I fell asleep. She was my protector, my confidant, my other half. I was the quiet, mousy one, always happy to be in her shadow because her shadow was a warm and safe place to be. But shadows can only exist when there's light. And one day, the light went out. It happened in the spring of my senior year of high school. Stella was home from college for the weekend. I was buzzing with excitement, counting down the minutes until she walked through the door. I had so much to tell her. I'd gotten the lead in the school play. A boy named Leo had asked me to prom, and I'd finally saved enough money from my part-time job at the bookstore to buy that vintage record player she'd always wanted for her birthday. But more than any of that, I had something else to share. Something I had been working on in secret for months. Music had always been my private world, the one place where I didn't feel like I was living in Stella's shadow. I played piano quietly in my room with the door closed, and I wrote songs about everything I couldn't say out loud. And the best one, the one I was most proud of, was called Gravity. It was about her, about the pull she had on me, the way my whole world tilted toward her. I had written it for her birthday. I was going to play it for her that weekend, just the two of us, and finally let her see this part of me I always kept hidden. I heard the front door slam and her voice call out, "Luna Bear, I'm home." I flew down the stairs, a smile so wide it made my cheeks hurt. But when I reached the bottom step, my smile froze. Stella wasn't alone. She was with a guy I'd never seen before. He was tall, with sharp, handsome features and an easy confidence that seemed to fill the entire hallway. His arm was slung possessively around her shoulder. "Luna," Stella said, her voice different, lighter. "This is Mark, my boyfriend." I blinked. Boyfriend? She hadn't mentioned a Mark in any of our phone calls. She hadn't said a word. "Hi," I managed to squeak out. "Nice to meet you." Mark gave me a once-over, a quick, dismissive glance. "Hey," he said, his attention already back on Stella. "So, where's that Italian place you were talking about?" "I'm starving." That weekend was a blur of me being invisible. Stella was attached to Mark's side like glue. They were always whispering, always laughing at private jokes, always touching. When I tried to tell her about the play, she cut me off. "That's great, Lou, but guess what? Mark's band just got a gig at a really cool club in the city." When I mentioned prom, she just smiled distractedly. "Prom? Oh yeah. That's fun. Mark and I are going to a party at his friend's loft that night. It's going to be epic." And my song? I never even got a chance to mention it. It stayed hidden in my notebook, unplayed, unheard. She left on Sunday with a quick, "See ya, Luna Bear. Take care of Mom and Dad," and a peck on the cheek. I felt a strange, hollow ache in my chest. It was a new kind of lonely. The kind where the person you miss is standing right in front of you. Over the next few months, the calls became texts, and the texts became fewer and farther between. When she did come home, Mark was always with her. He'd taken over our lives. He sat in her spot at the dinner table, he used her shower, he left his stupid leather jacket on the back of the couch. My parents adored him. They thought he was mature, ambitious. I thought he was a thief. I tried to talk to Stella about it once. I found her alone in her room, packing to go back to school. "Hey," I said, leaning against the doorframe. "I feel like I never get to talk to you anymore." She didn't even look up from her suitcase. "What do you mean? We're talking now." "No, I mean, really talk. It's like you're a different person when Mark's around. It's like I don't exist." She stopped folding a shirt and finally looked at me. Her eyes were cold, a look I'd never seen before. "Luna, you're being dramatic, you're just jealous." "Jealous?" I sputtered. "Of what?" "Of me, of my life, of my relationship. You're still in high school, still living in this little bubble. You don't understand what it's like to have a real connection, to have someone who actually challenges you." Her words were like a slap. "That's not true," I whispered. "I just miss my sister." "Well, I'm right here," she said, her voice flat. "And this is who I am now. You either accept it or you don't." She zipped up her suitcase and brushed past me without another word. I stood there in her empty room, surrounded by the ghosts of our childhood, and felt the first seed of something dark and bitter plant itself in my heart. It wasn't just sadness anymore. It was hurt. And hurt, when it's left to fester, can turn into something else entirely. The real dumping happened 3 months later. I had texted her, a long, rambling message about how my heart had been broken by Leo, the prom guy who had stood me up for the big dance. I poured my soul out, telling her how humiliated I felt, how my carefully chosen dress now hung in my closet like a sad satin ghost. I waited for her reply. An hour passed, then a day, then 2. Finally, late one night, my phone buzzed. It was a message from her, but it wasn't a reply to my heartbreak. It was a photo of her and Mark at a party. They were both laughing, holding up red plastic cups. And she was wearing a dress, my dress, the one I'd bought for prom, the one I'd sent her a picture of, asking if she liked it. Underneath the photo, the caption read, "Found this gem at Mom and Dad's. Hope you don't mind me borrowing it, Luna Bear. It looks so much better on me anyway. P.S. Sorry about Leo. Maybe next time, don't aim so high." I stared at the screen until my eyes burned and the letters blurred together. The pain was so physical, so absolute that I couldn't breathe. It wasn't just about the dress. It was the mockery, the casual cruelty. The final, definitive proof that the sister I had worshipped, the sister I had loved with my whole heart, was gone. And in her place was someone who saw my pain as an opportunity for a joke. She had dumped me. Not just ignored me, but actively, publicly, and cruelly dumped me. I didn't cry. I didn't have any tears left. I just felt a cold, hard knot form in my stomach. The seed of bitterness in my heart began to sprout, its roots twisting and tightening around every memory, every loving thought I'd ever had for her. I was done being the quiet, mousy little sister. I was done spinning in her orbit. It was time to build my own sun. But before I could build anything, something else happened. Something worse. It was a Tuesday afternoon, about 2 weeks after the dress incident. I was home alone, scrolling through social media, when I saw a post from Mark's band page. They had announced they were releasing their first single, a song called Gravity. My heart stopped. I clicked on the link. It took me to a streaming platform. There it was. Gravity by Mark's band, shattered silence. I pressed play, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. The song started, and it was my song, my melody, my chord progression, my lyrics, the ones I had written in my notebook, the ones I had never shown anyone, the ones I had written for Stella, but something was different. The arrangement was bigger, more polished. A full band production, and the vocals weren't mine. They were Mark's. He was singing my song. He was singing my pain, my love, my heartbreak for my sister, and claiming it as his own. I listened to the whole thing in a daze. When it ended, I just sat there, staring at the wall. How did they get my song? I had never shown it to anyone. It was in my notebook, my private notebook that I kept under my bed. Then I remembered. A few months ago, before everything fell apart, Stella had come home for a weekend without Mark. I had been so happy to have her to myself. We had hung out in my room, talked for hours. I had stepped out to make us snacks. When I came back, she was sitting on my bed, holding my notebook. "What's this?" she had asked, flipping through the pages. My heart had leaped into my throat. "Nothing. Just some stupid songs I write." She had smiled, but it was a strange smile. A calculating smile I didn't recognize at the time. "You write songs? Luna, that's amazing. Can I read them?" I had been so desperate for her approval, so hungry for her attention, that I said yes. I let her read them all. She had lingered on Gravity the longest, reading the lyrics slowly, her lips moving silently. "This is really good, Luna," she had said. "Really, really good." I had glowed with pride. It was the best compliment I had ever received from her. I never saw her take anything. I never saw her photograph the pages. But she must have. She must have copied the lyrics, maybe even recorded the melody when I hummed it for her. And she gave it to Mark. She stole my song and gave it to her boyfriend. The betrayal was so complete, so absolute, that I felt like the ground had opened up beneath me. She hadn't just abandoned me. She hadn't just mocked me. She had taken the most vulnerable, most personal part of me and handed it over to be used by someone else. She had stolen my voice before I even had a chance to use it. I didn't confront her. I didn't call. I didn't text. What would I say? She would deny it. She would twist it. She would make me feel crazy. That's what she had become good at. Instead, I did something else. I started planning. The revenge wasn't a lightning bolt idea. It grew slowly, carefully, like a vine climbing a wall. For weeks, I just watched, from a distance. I became a silent observer of Stella and Mark's world through the distorted lens of social media. Their song Gravity was getting attention. Not a lot, but some. Local radio stations played it. A few blogs mentioned it. Mark was loving the spotlight. He posted constantly about being a songwriter and an artist. He gave interviews where he talked about the deep personal meaning of the song, how it was about losing someone you love. It made me sick. But I noticed something else. Mark's band had other members. There was a drummer, a bass player, and a keyboard player. The keyboard player was a quiet guy named Ben. He was always in the background of photos, never in the spotlight. He had kind eyes and a sad smile. I noticed he never posted much. His own Instagram was private and had only a handful of followers. One night, fueled by a potent mix of insomnia and anger, I sent him a follow request from a fake account I'd created, a profile with no picture and a generic name. To my surprise, he accepted it within the hour. His page was a window into a different world. He posted photos of sunsets, of his old, battered keyboard, of books with cracked spines. He wrote short, poetic captions that were heartfelt and genuine. He was everything Mark was not. He was real. I started small. I'd like his photos, occasionally leave a simple comment. Beautiful shot. Love that book. He always replied, always with a genuine thank you. We started messaging. It was innocent at first, just talk about music and books. I told him my name was Lily. He told me about his struggles in the band, how he felt his ideas were always pushed aside for Mark's more commercial ones. He felt invisible. I knew that feeling. I knew it better than anyone. Over weeks of late-night conversations, Ben and I, or rather, Lily and Ben, developed a real connection. He was lonely, I could tell. He was a gentle soul trapped in a world of loud, arrogant people. I found myself genuinely caring about him, and that terrified me. I had to remind myself why I was doing this. This wasn't about Ben. This was about Stella and Mark. One night, the conversation turned to their new single. That song, Gravity, that you guys released, I typed carefully. It's really beautiful. Mark must be a talented songwriter. There was a long pause. Then Ben typed back, yeah, it's a good song. Something in his response felt off. It was too short, too careful. You don't sound convinced, I wrote. Another long pause. Then, can I tell you something? Something I shouldn't tell anyone? My heart started pounding. Of course. I don't think Mark wrote that song. I stared at the screen. My fingers trembled over the keyboard. What do you mean? I mean, I've been in this band with him for 3 years. I've seen him write. He struggles. He works for weeks on a single chorus. But that song, Gravity, it came out of nowhere. One day he just showed up with it, fully formed. Perfect lyrics, perfect melody. It didn't sound like him. It sounded like someone else. Someone who actually feels things. I closed my eyes. Tears leaked out from under my lids. Someone else, someone like me. Maybe he just had a good day, I typed, testing him. Maybe, Ben wrote, but there's something else. The way Stella acts around that song. She gets weird when anyone talks about it. Protective, almost nervous, like she knows something. I don't know, maybe I'm imagining it. You're not imagining it, I wanted to scream. It's mine. It's all mine, but I didn't, not yet. The plan wasn't ready. Ben, I wrote instead, I have a confession to make. The 3 little dots indicating he was typing appeared and disappeared several times. Then, okay, I'm listening. My name isn't Lily, it's Luna. And I'm Stella's sister. The pause this time was agonizing. A full minute passed. Then, too, I thought I had lost him forever. Finally, his reply came. Stella's sister? Mark's girlfriend Stella? Yes. Why all of this? Why the fake account? Why talk to me? I took a deep breath and told him the truth. I told him everything. About the sister who was my whole world, about Mark stealing her away, about the prom dress, about the crushing loneliness. And then I told him about the song. My song, how Stella must have stolen it from my notebook. How Mark was passing it off as his own. I laid my soul bare, just as I had to Stella, but this time, I knew the person on the other end was listening. Really listening. There was another long pause. Then he wrote, I knew it. I knew he didn't write that song. I'm so sorry, Luna. I'm so sorry. He understood. He actually understood. We talked for hours that night, a real conversation, not a game. We talked about pain, about music, about dreams. He told me about his own struggles, how he had been writing songs for years, but Mark always shot them down. How he felt trapped in a band that didn't value him. And then I told him my idea. What if we wrote a new song? I said. Together, a real song, about all of this. About being invisible, about having your voice stolen. And what if we released it ourselves? Anonymously. Let the world hear what real music sounds like. Ben was quiet for a long time. Then he typed, You mean compete with them? With our own song? I mean, create something so beautiful, so authentic, that it makes their stolen song look like the cheap imitation it is. Not for revenge on them. Well, maybe a little for revenge, but mostly for us. To prove that we exist, that our voices matter. But if I do this, I'm out of the band, I'm burning that bridge. Ben, I wrote, that bridge is already burned, they just don't know it yet. You're invisible there. You deserve to be seen. Another long pause, then, okay, let's do it. The next few weeks were a secret, thrilling whirlwind. Ben and I started meeting in person at a small recording studio downtown that he knew about. It was run by an old friend of his who let us use it for cheap. The first time I walked in, I was terrified. What if he didn't like me in person? What if the connection we had online was fake? But when I saw him, standing by the piano with that same sad smile, all my fears melted away. He was exactly who I thought he was. Kind, gentle, real. Luna, he said, extending his hand. It's nice to finally meet the real you. I shook his hand and laughed. It's nice to be the real me. We got to work. I showed him the original version of Gravity, the one Mark had stolen. He listened quietly, then looked at me with something like awe in his eyes. You wrote this when you were 17? I nodded. It's incredible, Luna. No wonder he stole it. But we weren't here to dwell on the past. We were here to create something new, something better. We started from scratch. I played him some of my other songs, the ones Stella hadn't seen. He played me his. And slowly, piece by piece, we started building something together, a new song. We called it Phantom Note. It was about the music that never gets played, the words that never get said, the people who fade into the background while others take credit for their light. It was about us. About everyone who had ever felt invisible. The melody was haunting, built around a simple piano line that Ben played. The lyrics were raw, pouring straight from my heart. We worked on it for weeks, late into the night, fueled by coffee and adrenaline and the growing bond between us. Somewhere in those weeks, something shifted between Ben and me. It wasn't planned. It wasn't part of the revenge. It just happened. One night, after a particularly emotional recording session, we were sitting on the studio floor, eating takeout and talking about nothing. He looked at me, really looked at me, and said, I'm glad you found me, Luna. Even if it started as revenge, I'm glad. I felt my heart flutter. Me too, Ben, me too. He leaned in and kissed me. It was soft and sweet and felt like coming home. For the first time in months, I wasn't thinking about Stella or Mark or the stolen song. I was just thinking about him. When we finally finished Phantom Note, we listened to the final mix together. It was perfect. Raw and real and beautiful. It was ours. Now came the hard part. We needed to release it, but not under our names. Not yet. We created a new YouTube channel and a new Spotify artist profile under the name The Invisible Girl. No picture, no bio, just a silhouette. On a Tuesday night, with my hands shaking and Ben's arm around my shoulders, I uploaded the song. I wrote a simple description. For everyone who has ever been unseen. For everyone who has ever had their voice stolen. Then we waited. The first few days were silent. A handful of views, probably us and Ben's friend from the studio checking it. I started to doubt. What if no one cared? What if we had poured our hearts into something that would just disappear into the void? Then, on the fourth day, something happened. A popular music blogger known for finding undiscovered talent shared the song on his Twitter with the caption, "Who is this? Haunting. Beautiful. This is the real deal. We need to find the invisible girl." The floodgates opened. The song spread like wildfire. It was shared on TikTok, used in thousands of emotional videos. People wrote comments about how it made them feel, how it articulated a pain they'd never been able to express. It hit a nerve. It was a song about loss and longing and invisibility, and everyone, it seemed, had felt that way at some point. Within a month, Phantom Note had millions of streams. Record labels started reaching out, desperate to sign the invisible girl. Music journalists wrote think pieces about the mystery artist. The song was even featured on a popular TV show during a heartbreaking scene. And through it all, I watched my sister's world crumble from afar. Mark's band, Shattered Silence, was suddenly irrelevant. Their stolen song, Gravity, was completely overshadowed by the authenticity of Phantom Note. Music critics started comparing the two, and guess which one came out on top. They called Gravity derivative, generic, lacking in real emotion. They called Phantom Note a masterpiece. Mark was furious. He posted rants on his social media, calling Phantom Note overrated and accusing the mystery artist of copying his style. The irony was so thick I could taste it. He had no idea that the person he was attacking was the real writer of his own song. The tension in their relationship became public. Stella, ever the follower, posted vague, sad quotes on her Instagram. Photos of her and Mark became less frequent. Then they stopped altogether. I felt a thrill of satisfaction, but it was mixed with something else. Something that felt disturbingly like pity. One night my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I answered, my heart in my throat. "Luna?" The voice was small, hesitant. It was Stella. I didn't say anything. "Luna, it's me. Please don't hang up." I gripped the phone tighter. "Why are you calling me?" "I need to talk to you. Mark and I broke up. He was a jerk. A total selfish jerk. I see that now. I've been such an idiot." I listened as she poured out her heart, telling me how controlling he was, how he'd isolated her from everyone, how he'd belittled her dreams. It was the story of our sisterhood, reversed. Now she was the invisible one. "And I've been thinking about you so much," she said, her voice cracking. "About how I treated you, about that stupid dress. I was so cruel, Luna. I was so lost in his world, I forgot about my own sister. I forgot about my own world. Can you ever forgive me?" I closed my eyes. This was the moment I had dreamed of. The moment she would come crawling back, humbled and broken. I had won. My revenge was complete. But sitting there, listening to her cry, I didn't feel the triumph I expected. I just felt tired. The fire of my anger had burned out, leaving only cold ash. "Where are you?" I asked, my voice quiet. "I'm home. At Mom and Dad's. I came home. I'll be there in 10 minutes. I drove to my parents' house in a daze. Stella was sitting on the front porch, just like she used to when we were kids, waiting for me to come home from a friend's house. She looked smaller somehow, diminished. I sat down next to her. We didn't speak for a long time. We just sat there under the same stars we used to wish on together. "I'm sorry," she whispered again. "I know," I said, and I did know. I could see the genuine remorse in her eyes. We started talking, really talking, for the first time in years. We talked until the sun came up. She told me about the bad parts of her relationship with Mark, the parts she'd hidden from everyone. I told her about my loneliness, about the hole her absence had left in my life. But I didn't tell her about Ben. I didn't tell her about the song. A few days later, I was back at the studio with Ben when his phone rang. He answered, listened for a moment, and his face went pale. "What is it?" I asked when he hung up. He looked at me, his eyes wide. "That was a promoter. There's going to be a benefit concert for emerging artists. It's a huge deal. And they want the invisible girl to perform Phantom Note live, for the first time, at a real venue in the city, in 2 weeks." My blood ran cold. "Ben, I can't sing in public. I'm not a real performer. It was a one-time thing. A studio thing. But it has to be you," he insisted. "It's your voice. It's your pain on that recording. You have to do it. And I'll be there. I'll play the piano. We'll do it together." The thought was terrifying, performing live, in front of hundreds of people. But another thought, a stronger one, pushed the fear aside. This was my chance to finally step out of the shadows, not as a ghost, not as a secret, but as myself. "Okay," I said, my voice trembling. Let's do it. The next 2 weeks were a blur of rehearsals and anxiety. Ben and I practiced for hours every day, refining the song, making it perfect for a live performance. He was calm and steady, my rock in the storm. Every time I panicked, he was there to ground me. The night of the concert arrived. The venue was a historic theater in the city, all red velvet and gold leaf, with a massive stage and lights that could blind you. Backstage, I was a mess of nerves. I was wearing a simple black dress, my hair down, no mask, no disguise. Ben was beside me in a dark suit, looking handsome and calm. "Hey," he said, taking my hand. "No matter what happens out there, I'm proud of you, I'm proud of us." I squeezed his hand. "Me too." I peeked through the curtain. The theater was packed, hundreds of faces waiting, and there, in the third row, I saw them. My mom and dad looking proud and confused, and next to them, Stella. She was clutching a program, her face pale. My heart stopped. I hadn't told anyone in my family. I hadn't told Stella. The announcer's voice boomed through the speakers. "And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. For the first time ever, please welcome the mysterious artist behind the song that has captivated millions." The invisible girl? The stage lights were blinding. I walked out, my legs feeling like jelly. I couldn't see the audience, just a dark void. I sat down on a stool next to Ben at the piano. He gave me a small, encouraging nod. Then the lights dimmed and a single spotlight fell on us. I could see the audience now. I saw 1,000 faces, waiting, and I saw Stella. Her eyes were wide, her mouth slightly open. She looked from me to Ben and back to me. The recognition dawned on her face like a sunrise. Ben's fingers touched the keys, and the first haunting notes of Phantom Note filled the silent theater. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and I began to sing. I didn't sing for the audience. I didn't sing for the critics. I sang for the girl I used to be, the little girl who worshipped her big sister, the teenager who was left behind, the young woman who had her song stolen but found her voice anyway. I poured every bit of that journey into the song. When I opened my eyes and sang the final note, the silence was absolute. For one terrifying second, I thought I had failed. Then, the theater erupted. A standing ovation, a roar of applause that shook the walls. I looked at Ben, and he was smiling, tears in his eyes. I looked out at the audience, overwhelmed. And then my eyes found Stella. She was standing, too, applauding with everyone else. But she wasn't smiling. She was crying. Tears were streaming down her face, and in them, I saw not jealousy, not anger, but a profound and devastating understanding. She knew the song was about her. She knew the pain in my voice was the pain she had caused. She knew that the invisible girl was her little sister, the one she had betrayed. After the show, the backstage area was a chaotic swirl of people. Reporters, well-wishers, label executives. I smiled and nodded, but I was searching for only one face. I found her standing alone in a quiet corner, still in her concert clothes. Ben was beside me. He squeezed my hand and then melted away, giving us space. Stella looked at me. Her eyes were red-rimmed. "It was you," she whispered. "All this time, the song, the voice, the invisible girl, it was you." I nodded. "Yes." The lyrics. "You took my voice and called it yours, left me standing outside closed doors." That was about me, about the song I stole. "Yes, Stella, it was about you." She took a shaky step towards me. "I am so sorry, Luna. I had no idea how much I hurt you. I was so selfish. I was so blind. I took your song, your beautiful song, I gave it to Mark, I thought if he had a hit, he would love me more. I thought I was helping him. I didn't think about you at all. I didn't think about what it would do to you." "I know you are now," I said, my own voice thick with emotion. "And I know you were hurting too. Mark, he did a number on you. He made you think his success was more important than anything." "That's not an excuse," she said, shaking her head. "It's not. I should have been there for you. I should have protected you. Instead, I stole from you. I destroyed you." We stood there, 2 feet apart, a gulf of pain and years between us. The revenge I had so carefully planned, the triumph I had imagined, felt meaningless now. This moment, this raw, honest confrontation, was more powerful than any number of sold-out concerts. "I'm not the same person I was, Stella," I said. "I'm not your little Luna bear anymore." I found my own voice. "And I found someone who sees me, really sees me." She nodded, a fresh tear tracing a path down her cheek. "Ben, it's Ben, isn't it, from the band?" "Yes." He's a good guy, better than Mark. Better than all of us. She looked at me, her eyes full of a desperate hope. Is it too late for us? Can you ever forgive me? The question hung in the air between us. I thought about the years of hurt, the mocking text, the stolen song, the loneliness. But I also thought about the little girl in the bed next to me, telling me stories to chase away the monsters. I thought about the hands that taught me to braid my hair. I thought about the sister who was my whole world before she got lost. I don't know if I can forget, I said slowly. What you did. It cut deep, deeper than you'll ever know, but I think I can start to forgive. If you're willing to earn it, if you're willing to be my sister again, really be my sister. She let out a sob and closed the distance between us, pulling me into a hug. It was the first real hug we'd shared in years. It felt awkward and unfamiliar, but beneath it, somewhere deep, I felt a tiny flicker of the old warmth. It wasn't the blazing sun of our childhood. It was more like the gentle, steady light of a distant star. But it was a start. Later that night, after the crowds had gone and the theater was dark, I found Ben waiting for me outside. Stella was with me. She hung back, giving us space, but she was there. She was staying. Hey, superstar, Ben said, his smile warm. Hey, genius, I replied, leaning into him. Thank you for everything. Thank you, he said, for making my music matter, for making me matter. Stella stepped forward, looking at Ben with shy uncertainty. Ben, I'm sorry. For everything, for the band, for Mark, for all of it, you deserved better, we all did. Ben looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. Thank you, Stella, that means something. We walked out into the cool night air, the three of us. My phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. I opened it. It was from Mark. I know it was you, the invisible girl. I know you stole my spotlight. This isn't over. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding. Ben saw my face and looked at the phone. What is it? He asked. I showed him. Stella leaned in to look, her face paling. He's not going to let this go, she whispered. I looked at the message, then at Ben, then at my sister. The revenge had worked, but it had also created something new, an enemy. A problem, but for the first time I didn't feel alone. I had Ben, I had my music, and maybe, just maybe, I had my sister back. I typed a reply to Mark, just 2 words. Bring it. Then I put my phone away and looked up at the sky. The moon was out, a thin, silver crescent, my moon. I wasn't a planet orbiting my sister's sun anymore. I had my own light now. It was a quiet light, born from pain and fueled by a secret revenge that had, in the end, led me not to victory, but to something far more valuable, myself. And the people who truly loved me. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Offers poured in from record labels, managers, producers. Everyone wanted to sign the invisible girl. But Ben and I were cautious. We had learned the hard way what happens when you trust the wrong people. We took our time, vetted everyone, and finally signed with a small, independent label that promised us creative control. They understood that our music was personal, that it came from a real place, and they promised to protect that. Stella, true to her word, started working to earn back my trust. It wasn't easy. There were awkward silences, moments of tension, days when the old hurt resurfaced and I couldn't look at her. But she kept showing up. She came to my rehearsals, sat in the back, cheering quietly. She listened when I talked about my music, really listened, the way she used to when we were kids. She even apologized to my parents, telling them everything she had done. They were shocked, hurt, but ultimately they wanted their family back together as much as I did. One afternoon, about a month after the concert, Stella came to my apartment. She looked nervous, which was unusual for her. She was carrying a notebook. I have something for you, she said, holding it out. I took it. It was my old notebook, the one with all my original songs, the one she had stolen from. I found it in my old stuff, she said quietly. I should have given it back a long time ago. I'm sorry I kept it. I'm sorry I took it in the first place. I opened it, flipping through the pages. There was gravity in my own handwriting. There were dozens of other songs, some good, some terrible, but all mine, all pieces of me. Thank you, I said, my voice thick. She nodded, then took a deep breath. There's something else. I want to make it right. The song. Gravity, it's yours. Everyone should know that. I want to help you tell the truth. I looked at her, surprised. What do you mean? I mean, I'll go public. I'll tell everyone what I did. How I stole your song and gave it to Mark. I'll confess everything. It's the least I can do. I stared at her for a long moment. This was more than I had ever expected, more than I had ever hoped for. Stella, that would destroy your reputation. People will hate you. I know, she said simply. But maybe that's what I deserve. And maybe if I do this, it will help you, help your career. Help people understand that you're the real talent. Not Mark, not me, you. I shook my head slowly. No, she blinked. No, no. I don't want that. I don't want you to destroy yourself to make me feel better. That's not forgiveness. That's just more pain. But Luna, Stella, listen to me. The song is mine. I know it. You know it. Ben knows it. And honestly, that's enough. I don't need the whole world to know. I just need to know that you understand what you did. And you do, that's enough. She stared at me, tears welling in her eyes. How can you be so good? After everything I did, I smiled, a real smile. I'm not good. I'm just tired of being angry. It's exhausting. And I'd rather have my sister back than spend the rest of my life hating you. She broke down then, sobbing, and I held her. We stood there in my tiny apartment, holding each other, and for the first time in years, it felt real. It felt like family. Ben found us like that when he came over later. He didn't say anything, just smiled and started making coffee. He understood. He always understood. A few months later, Ben and I released our first official album under our own names. We called it Visible. It had Phantom Note and Gravity and a dozen other songs we had written together. It was a huge success, critically and commercially. We went on tour, played sold-out shows across the country. And every night when I sang Gravity, I dedicated it to my sister. Not in a mean way, not as a reminder of her betrayal, but as a testament to how far we had come. She was always in the audience, cheering loudest of all. Mark, meanwhile, faded into obscurity. His band broke up. His stolen song was forgotten. He tried to start a solo career, but no one was interested. I heard through the grapevine that he was bitter, angry, blaming everyone but himself. I didn't care. He wasn't worth my energy anymore. One night, after a show in our hometown, Stella and I sat on the front porch of our parents' house, just like old times. The same stars were overhead. The same crickets chirped in the darkness. Remember when we used to do this? She asked. Every night, I said. You used to tell me stories. She laughed softly. I remember. I told you some crazy ones. Dragons, knights, magical lands. You were my hero back then. She was quiet for a moment. Am I still, after everything? I thought about it, really thought about it. You're not my hero anymore, I said honestly, but you're my sister. And that's more important. She nodded, a tear sliding down her cheek. I'll take that forever. We sat in comfortable silence for a while, then she spoke again. Luna, I want you to know something. I'm proud of you. Not just for the music, though that's amazing. I'm proud of who you've become. You're strong, you're kind, you're everything I wish I could be. I looked at her, surprised by the raw honesty in her voice. And I want you to know, she continued, that I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of being your sister. I know I don't deserve you, but I'm going to try, every single day. I reached out and took her hand. You already are, Stella, you already are. Later that night, Ben and I walked back to my apartment, hand in hand. The city was quiet, the streets empty. It felt like the whole world was asleep, and we were the only ones awake, guardians of our own small universe. What are you thinking about? Ben asked. I smiled up at him. I'm thinking about how strange life is, how something that started as revenge turned into us, into music, into my sister coming back. Revenge is a funny thing, he said. It usually just destroys everything, but you turned it into something beautiful. I didn't do it alone, I said, stopping to face him. You were there. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. He kissed me softly. I'll always believe in you, Luna. We walked on, and I thought about the journey that had brought me here. The pain, the betrayal, the loneliness. The secret plans, the late-night sessions. The first time I heard my voice on a recording and realized it was enough. The moment on stage when I saw my sister's face and knew that forgiveness was possible. Revenge had been the spark, but it was love that had become the fire. My phone buzzed, a message from Stella. Good night, Luna Bear, I love you. I smiled and typed back. Good night, Stella, I love you too. I put my phone away and looked up at the sky. The moon was full now, bright and beautiful, casting its light over everything. My moon, my light. And beside me, walking into the future together, was the boy who had helped me find it. The end, or maybe just the beginning.